What's up, all my MAFS peeps? Season 13, Houston Reunion Part Deuce. What did you guys think? It was pretty much more of the same. I thought it started off kind of slow, even though they started where they left off last week with Zach out there. He didn't want Michaela to come out and interrupt his time because he's still mad that when Michaela was out, she didn't want him out there. So I guess it's his version of payback. Like, nah, I'm going to tell my side. And so he told this long story about, you know, he still denies that on their 1 month anniversary that he and Michaela were messing around. He said he didn't even kiss her, but I noticed, like I said last time, he looked to the side when he said it, so it seemed like he wasn't telling the truth. I don't get the feeling that Michaela was making it up, but he said there was some incident in the car. She broke her window or something. He invited her back to his place, and she stayed over there. And so Kevin Frazier said, so by sleeping with Michaela, you felt that was making her feel better or something like that. And so it just seems like Zach keeps fooling around with her, but he doesn't have the intentions of, marrying her, trying to work it out. It's like anytime his flesh is screaming, he wants to call Michaela, but he has no interest in being a husband, not to her anyway. So it's just more of the same with them. We get the same thing every week from Zach. He's real emotional. And the thing that trips me out about him is that he actually said next to his mother that she's the most amazing woman he's ever met. So I'm thinking, you're going to give up on a marriage with the most next to your mom? She's the most amazing woman you ever met, and you're willing to let that go? How many times do you think that's going to come around in a lifetime? If he really thought that, I think he'd be trying to make it work. Sounds just like a lot of lip service he's giving the audience so they don't attack him and call him, a bad guy or something. So he has to try to sound honorable, like she's an amazing person. It's just, sometimes two amazing people don't work out. Stop, man. Stop. Your audience isn't stupid. We see what you're doing. At least most of us do. I'm not cool with all the game playing because Michaela's been through a lot. And, she talks about when he was leaving in the middle of the night like that. She keeps talking about what happens to her dad. What happened to her dad? He was in a car accident. So, she gets flashbacks of that. So you can kind of see why she didn't want him leaving in the middle of the night, even though she told him, you can go home now. She didn't really mean it. And, it's like Zach gets hardcore in his emotions. And, to me, him and Johnny are pretty much the same person. They're both emotional, except, of course, Zach cries a lot more. And I don't know what that's about. But these two are just poorly matched. I don't see how the experts can call themselves experts. I just don't. I mean, I guess they picked the Boston crew. I guess they're picking the San Diego crew. They got to do something different. Like I said, let the family members match these people up. Let friends do it, but the experts can no longer be called experts if nobody's working out. How are you experts if nobody's working out? I just think it's real messed up. And then later, Zach was trying to apologize, and Michaela's like, he don't mean that. And, he just stopped and just like, oh, I'm done. I can see why Michaela's mad. I mean, all Zach really has is the fact that she has a quick temper. But with him, it's like he's playing all type of mind games and telling her things, pulling out poems and stuff. So she's not doing all that. She just has one thing she needs to work on, and that's a temper. This dude's playing just all types of games. And like I said, I think it's to make the audience look at him a certain kind of way. And a lot happened. I'm going to do a separate video on the Where Are They Now show that came on after. That kind of revealed what we had been hearing behind the scenes. I didn't speak on it because I didn't know how much of it was real. I know there's a Instagram page, MAFS fans. I see what's going on there from time to time. And they've been talking about Zach and Bao. And you'll see what I think of that situation on the other video. But for now, I'm just dealing with the Houston reunion because so much happened on both shows. But it's just like they were poorly matched. And they never recovered after that first incident where Zach left to walk the dog, whatever. It was all downhill after that. Moving on to Brett and Ryan. Now, Brett and Ryan, the matchmakers admitted that Brett wasn't Ryan's type, but they keep saying that, if you kept dating your type and it wasn't working, like it was time to do something different. So, yeah, it's time to do something different, but you still got to give him his type. I mean, you can't hook him up with something that he's not attracted to and say, well, you kept ordering steak and I know you like steak, and every time they served it, it was burnt. So instead, we gave you some asparagus. Like, okay, but I still like steak. Just don't burn it this time. I don't know what the matchmakers are thinking sometimes. I don't even know if they're really the ones calling the shots. I think sometimes it's people behind the scenes making the couples for ratings, and I think they just get the doctors to co-sign it. I don't really know if they're really picking the contestants or the candidates, whatever you want to call it. But Ryan and Brett just clearly aren't a match. Brett has a different type, and then Ryan, they both were talking to people. Ryan met some guy, gave him his number, she gave him her number, and of course you remember that Ryan was on a dating app, and both people were respectful of their marriage. And the more you watch these couples week after week, I say this over and over, you kind of see why they're still single, some of these folks. You see why, excuse me, they have little quirks. They have little things that the matchmakers don't know about till they get on the show, and then it's like, oh, like I didn't know that. But Ryan and Brett, they're just poorly matched again. So let's move on. Bow and Johnny. Johnny didn't bow down, and Bow didn't bow out too easy. He had to do it. But they kept going back and forth tonight. Johnny keeps talking about Bow wasn't who she was on camera, wasn't who she ended up. Well, you know what I'm saying. He's trying to say Bow on the camera isn't the same as Bow behind the camera. He's just saying, she was saying she didn't want to put a lot of her personal business out there, for her family to see and co-workers. There's only so much she wanted to present. And he, excuse me, well, my throat's getting dry. He didn't like that. So he just wanted her to be who she was on camera and not he felt like she was being fake. He felt like she was making him look bad and she was giving a different impression to the audience. And then they kept giving these flashbacks and showing deleted scenes. It's like they were trying to stretch it out to 2 hours. I'm like, just come on, show the interviews. We know what happened, but they kept showing flashbacks, showing where she was dressed up like a nurse and they're doing all this little freaky stuff. I'm like, man, I ain't trying to see all that. Johnny just seems to give the impression that he's a confused person and he's trying to blame Bow for his confusion. It's like, you're confused, you don't know what you want, you're blaming Bow for it. Bow's pretty upfront, and he just keeps talking about, I didn't feel like I could be myself. And Bow would always tell him, if you got something to say, say it. She'd always try to get him to talk, and he'd storm out the room, so you can't blame Bow for that. That's on you, Johnny. That's on you. And it's clear he's got a thing for Myrla. Later he even talks about, Kevin asked him, like, who do you think should have been matched up? Who do you think you guys should have been matched up with? And of course he said Myrla. He said, we know each other better than anybody, and there's nothing that she wants that I can't handle. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he meant. This dude likes Myrla. They say they're BFFs now, and poor Gil, he's just sitting there. I know he's like, man, I just got totally blindsided. But Bow and Johnny, Bow just had enough with his games, and you could tell she was just tired of the constantly getting blamed for things that she didn't do. And later, when they bring on the doctors, Dr. Viviana was talking about the Bow kind of can be manipulative, and she said, "But we're all guilty of that." And Pastor Cal said, "I never saw that with Bow." He's like, "I never saw her like that." He said, "Now Johnny was a bit extra, and that's how I saw it. Bow to me was who Bow is, and Johnny was the extra one. To me, Johnny and Zach are pretty much the same person, except Zach cries more, but they're pretty much the same person. They don't seem to want to be a husband. They seem to want to be a bachelor and then blame their wives for wanting to be a bachelor without coming out and saying it. So, you know, can't wait to do my video on Where Are They Now so I can expose what was really going on, or what's going on after. But that's all I pretty much got about Bow and Johnny, Ryan, and Brett. Let's move on to Miss Myrla. Now, Gil's sitting there looking like his heart's been ripped out and stomped on. And Myrla doesn't reach over and touch him at all, but she kept touching Johnny when he was out there. She had no problem touching him. Oh, everything Johnny said was so funny. All of a sudden, Johnny turned into Richard Pryor. The dude was hilarious, but she couldn't even hug, the guy that she was married to, and their divorce isn't even final yet. She couldn't even hug him and say, "Oh man, it'll be all right." And it's like Kevin Frazier told him, he's like, "Dude, you'll be all right." So she even admitted he'd be all right. But I'm glad Dr. Pepper let Myrla have it. She was like, "I don't see how you could just change like that." And she talked about when she went to their house and she was all up on them and stuff, and they were lovey-dovey. She's like, "You're not being specific on what happened," and that's what I'm saying. Something had to have happened, and I'm still not really clear because Myrla's the type, when you call her out on something, she'll change it and say it's not that. Like, she'll say finances, and then when you say something about the finances, well, then it's not the finances. It's a combination of that. And I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel like I could have a future with him making decisions about our family financially. And Pastor Cal said, "Look, when I married my wife, I was broke. You work together." And she was talking about being happy. He said, "Happy is a byproduct of both of you coming together working on a goal. Like, stop focusing on I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy." You have to focus on both of you. And then when you focus on each other, the happiness comes. But he said he felt like she made a rash decision prematurely because she was afraid. And like I said, for her to say that it's not just about the money, and poor Gil's just sitting there looking like he could cry. And well, he was crying because he said he hadn't shed a tear this whole time, and now he can't stop crying. I just felt for the dude. He's just sitting there kind of sunk in his chair, his hand on his face at one point, and he just said he got blindsided. And Dr. Pepper said nobody deserves to be blindsided, and I agree. And later, Kevin Frazier asked him about the craziest DMs he's gotten, and he said some lady posts something every Wednesday between 8:30 and 9:30, and she's always hitting him up every Wednesday saying, "I'm there for you. I can fly out." She does a story about him between 8:30 and 9:30 every Wednesday, like I said, about Gil. And he said, yeah, apparently a lot of women are hitting him up, so we'll see what happens. But he just said it was a surprise to him that she changed on him like that, and she doesn't show him any type of sympathy. He said, "I can deal with rejection," but he's like, this just kind of came out of nowhere, and she was acting like she gave him signs. Now remember, Myrla was the person that was talking about divorce wasn't an option. They even showed her clips in case she wanted to play the denial role. They're like, "Watch this clip," and she had been sipping on the sauce. she was talking about, you pray for things and you don't really think you're going to get it, but I couldn't have asked for a better guy. She was talking about he makes the bed, she said, and it only takes 2 minutes, but he takes the time to make the beds. She kept talking about how consistent he was. He brings her flowers every week. He opens the car door even if he's not the one driving. It's the consistency. And she's talking about, how great of a man he is, and he just dropped his head like, that really hurt him because he's thinking, I guess he's thinking, how do you make all these statements and then just turn on me and I'm supposed to just accept it? I know right now he's battling in his mind. Should he fight for his marriage? Because I'm sure he's thinking, well, that nice Myrla must be somewhere in there still. Maybe she's just having a cold front right now. But, it looks like her mind's made up. Her and Johnny are BFFs all of a sudden. And at the one point, they showed it last week, a clip where they asked Johnny, was he and Myrla, what was going on? Are they BFFs? And he's like, I don't know. And Myrla's like, hey, we have to talk. And they're just all laughing like Johnny's hoping it's more. You could tell if Myrla wanted to take it there, Johnny would definitely oblige. So Gills just walks out. He's like, I'm gonna take off, guys. I'm not feeling too well. And Michaela immediately runs up, consoles him. They start talking in the back. And I thought that was kind of rude of Ryan while they were back there talking. He's like, maybe we should keep going. It looks like they're going to be a while back there. I thought that was kind of insensitive. But Gil's just like, I can't do this. He's like, I'm done. He was talking about how, that it's hard for him to sit out there and listen to all this. I mean, you can't blame the dude. Myrla is just sitting out there ice cold. Like I said, she won't put a hand on Gil. And she won't console him or nothing, but she keeps touching Johnny, talking about how they're good friends and all that. I'm like, that is so low class. Guess next time I do a lot of talking, I'll bring some water in here. Anyway. I mean, the matchmakers were even getting choked up. You could see how Dr. Viviana was. She even told Myrla at one point, she said, if I were to ask you all of the things that would make you want a divorce, I'm sure whatever you would tell me, she's like, I'm not seeing it right here. Like, there's nothing he's doing to make you want a divorce, He's not a bad guy. He's a firefighter. She was talking about she got tired of the little names and stuff like that. But, I mean, was it that serious? I mean, you guys were kind of playful like that. I mean, she didn't tease him on, but she didn't seem that bothered by it. But I guess she was plotting. I don't know. Like I said, I can't wait to talk about what happened on Where Are They Now? Because a lot more seemed to come out in that than the actual Houston reunion part 2. Pastor Cal he was really on point. I wonder if the so-called experts are like, I wonder if they could go to the producers and be like, hey, we need to do a whole new process because this last season we bombed and the people that watch are kind of getting fed up with the couples not making it. They kind of want to see a success story every now and then, Be nice if somebody got along. But I don't know. It's just hard to watch Gil suffer like that. It really is. Because Myrla keeps trying to play like, over time, she started to realize that they're just two different people. And like, you knew that, like she said, she was talking about, yeah, I told you from the beginning, like you grew on me. So if he grew on you, then it's just a big mess. Did I talk about Jose and Rachel already? How Jose keeps getting blamed for locking the door on Rachel. I don't remember, but I'm like, at some point, you got to forgive Jose. I mean, The dude locked you out. It was wrong. We all know that. Nobody would condone it. But why in the world do they keep bringing it up? Even Rachel was talking about how, their fights are over little stuff. But it looks like they're going to work it out. Looks like Gil and Myrla are definitely over. And I liked how Dr. Pepper said she didn't like how Myrla showed up drunk when they had their meeting. Myrla was clearly toasted. So I don't know. Maybe when she was crying and talking about that Gil was the man of her dreams, basically, maybe that was the alcohol talking. I don't know. But it wasn't cool to do that to him. All the teasing Gil did and the stuff he said, it didn't call for all that. So if that was her scheme to get him back, after decision day, that's pretty cold-blooded. What'd you guys think of the Houston reunion? Am I leaving something out? I covered Bao, Johnny, Ryan, Brett, Rachel, Jose, Gil, Myrla. If I'm forgetting anything, let me know. I'll tell you more on the Where Are They Now. This is J. Roos Theory. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe, comment, and be fearless. Yay, yay.